There are moments in life when you watch people smile in public while hiding their true intentions in private. You see betrayal disguised as friendship, deception hidden behind promises, and injustice covered by carefully crafted appearances. It can make you wonder if anyone truly sees what is happening. But there is a truth more powerful than any secret and stronger than any lie. God sees everything. He sees every action taken behind closed doors, every word whispered in secret, every scheme designed in darkness, and every tear shed in silence. Nothing escapes his sight. While people may believe they have successfully hidden their motives, God's vision reaches where human eyes cannot. What is concealed from the world is fully visible to him. And throughout history, one pattern has remained unchanged. What is done in darkness eventually comes into the light. The exposure may not happen immediately. It may take days, months, or even years. But when God's timing arrives, truth begins to rise, masks begin to fall, and reality can no longer be hidden. Those who trusted deception discover that lies cannot stand forever, while those who remained faithful learn that integrity is never forgotten. This message is for anyone who has been hurt by hidden actions, discouraged by apparent injustice, or tempted to believe that wrongdoers will never be held accountable. Today you are about to discover why darkness is only temporary, why truth is unstoppable, and why God's light has a way of revealing everything exactly when it needs to be revealed. No secret is permanent, no lie is eternal, and no act escapes the notice of the one who sees all. The same God who witnessed what happened in the dark is now bringing it into the light, and when he does, everything changes. There is a powerful illusion that many people fall into: the belief that what is done in secret will remain secret forever. Throughout history, individuals have convinced themselves that if no one witnesses their actions, they can escape accountability. They believe that closed doors, hidden conversations, private messages, and carefully planned schemes will protect them from the consequences of their choices. For a season, it may even appear that they are right. They continue their lives as if nothing has happened. They enjoy success, maintain their reputation, and move through the world without anyone suspecting the truth. But one lesson continues to repeat itself across generations. Hidden actions never stay hidden forever. The reason this truth is so important is because people often confuse silence with approval and delay with escape. Just because something has not been exposed today does not mean it will never be exposed. Just because consequences have not arrived immediately does not mean they are not coming. Time has a remarkable way of uncovering what people work hard to conceal. The smallest detail can become the thread that unravels an entire deception. A careless word, an unexpected witness, a forgotten piece of evidence, or a sudden change in circumstances can reveal what was once buried deep beneath layers of secrecy. Many people spend more energy hiding the truth than they would have spent simply doing what was right in the first place. They build walls of excuses, create stories to protect themselves, and constantly worry about whether someone will discover what they have done. The burden of maintaining a lie becomes heavier with every passing day. Secrets demand protection. Deception requires maintenance. The person who lives dishonestly often finds themselves trapped by the very things they hoped would protect them. What began as a single hidden action can grow into a complicated web that becomes increasingly difficult to control. Meanwhile, truth operates differently. Truth does not need constant defense. It does not require endless explanations or carefully constructed stories. It simply exists. That is why truth has such incredible power. Even when it is temporarily covered, it continues to wait beneath the surface. Eventually, circumstances align in a way that allows it to emerge. When it does, people are often shocked by how quickly years of deception can collapse. What seemed secure suddenly becomes fragile. What seemed hidden suddenly becomes obvious. What seemed impossible to uncover becomes impossible to ignore. One of the most challenging experiences in life is watching someone appear to succeed through dishonest means. You may witness people manipulate others, spread falsehoods, betray trust, or act with selfish intentions while continuing to prosper. From a human perspective, it can feel unfair. You may question whether justice truly exists. You may wonder if truth will ever prevail. Yet history repeatedly demonstrates that appearances can be deceiving. Many individuals who seemed untouchable eventually faced exposure. The very secrets they believed would remain buried became the source of their downfall. This principle extends beyond dramatic scandals or public failures. It applies to everyday life as well. Character is revealed over time. The way people treat others, the choices they make when nobody is watching, and the motives behind their actions eventually become visible. A person may successfully create a false image for a while, But maintaining a false image forever is nearly impossible. Eventually, patterns emerge. Consistency reveals authenticity. Reality has a way of exposing what appearances attempt to hide. For those who have been hurt by the hidden actions of others, this truth offers hope. There are moments when betrayal feels invisible. Someone may have lied about you, manipulated a situation, or caused harm without anyone knowing the full story. You may feel frustrated because the truth seems ignored while deception appears rewarded. During those moments, it is important to remember that exposure often takes time. The absence of immediate justice does not mean justice will never come. Truth is patient, it does not rush, yet it has a remarkable ability to survive every attempt to destroy it. At the same time, this lesson serves as a reminder for all of us to examine our own lives. It is easy to focus on the hidden actions of others while overlooking our own choices. Integrity is not measured by what we do when people are watching. It is measured by what we do when nobody is paying attention. True character is built in private, long before it is recognized in public. The decisions made in quiet moments shape the reality that eventually becomes visible to the world. The most freeing way to live is not by perfecting secrecy, but by embracing honesty. A life built on truth eliminates the fear of exposure. There is no constant anxiety about being discovered, no need to remember countless excuses, and no pressure to maintain a false image. Integrity creates peace because it removes the gap between who a person appears to be and who they truly are. While hidden wrongdoing may seem powerful for a season, its foundation is fragile. Truth, on the other hand, stands on solid ground. No matter how deeply something is buried, no matter how carefully it is concealed, and no matter how long it remains hidden, the reality remains the same. Hidden actions never stay hidden forever. Darkness may provide temporary cover, but it cannot provide permanent protection. In time, truth finds its way to the surface. And when it does, it reveals what was there all along. The light does not create the truth. It simply makes visible what darkness could only hide for a while. One of the greatest struggles people face is understanding why wrongdoing often seems to go unpunished. We live in a world where it is not uncommon to see dishonest people succeed, selfish individuals prosper, and those who hurt others appear to move forward without consequences. When we witness this, it can create frustration, disappointment, and even doubt. We begin to question whether justice truly exists. We wonder why those who have caused pain seem to escape accountability, while those who strive to do what is right often face challenges and hardships. Yet there is a truth that has brought comfort to countless people throughout history. Justice is not limited to what human eyes can see. There is a higher authority that sees every action, understands every motive, and works beyond the limitations of human systems. Human justice, while important, is imperfect. Courts can make mistakes. Witnesses can remain silent. Evidence can be hidden. Powerful individuals can sometimes manipulate situations to their advantage. There are moments when the truth is overlooked, and people walk away believing they have escaped responsibility for their actions. This reality can be discouraging because it challenges our desire for fairness. We naturally want wrongs to be corrected quickly and visibly. We want truth to prevail immediately, but life does not always operate according to our preferred timeline. What many people fail to recognize is that justice and timing are not always the same thing. The absence of immediate consequences should never be mistaken for the absence of accountability. Just because someone appears to have avoided responsibility today does not mean they will avoid it forever. History is filled with examples of individuals who believed they were untouchable, only to discover later that their actions had consequences they never anticipated. Some faced public exposure. Others experienced the collapse of relationships, reputations, careers, or opportunities. In many cases, the very choices they thought would secure their success ultimately became the reason for their downfall. One reason divine justice is so powerful is because it goes beyond actions and examines intentions. Human beings often judge based on appearances. We see behavior, hear words, and make conclusions from limited information. But true justice requires a complete understanding of circumstances, motives, and hidden realities. What appears successful on the surface may conceal deep problems beneath. A person may project confidence while carrying fear. They may display wealth while experiencing inner emptiness. They may receive admiration from others while knowing the truth about their own actions. Divine justice operates with perfect knowledge, seeing not only what people do but also why they do it. This understanding should encourage those who feel overlooked or mistreated. There are moments when people experience betrayal, false accusations, manipulation, or unfair treatment. Sometimes they speak the truth and are ignored. Sometimes they do the right thing and receive criticism instead of recognition. In those situations, it can feel as though justice has disappeared. Yet the reality is that nothing goes unnoticed. Every act of kindness, every sacrifice, every effort to remain faithful under pressure, and every moment of integrity is seen and remembered. Just as wrongdoing does not escape notice, goodness is not forgotten. Patience becomes essential when waiting for justice. One of the hardest lessons in life is learning that resolution does not always happen according to our schedule. We often want immediate answers and visible outcomes. We want to see every wrong corrected as soon as possible. But growth, truth, and justice frequently unfold over time. What seems delayed may actually be part of a larger process that we cannot yet see. Circumstances develop, hidden facts emerge, and opportunities arise that eventually reveal the bigger picture. Another important aspect of justice is that it serves a greater purpose than punishment alone. Many people think of justice only as consequences for wrongdoing, but true justice also creates opportunities for reflection, accountability, and transformation. Exposure can become a turning point. Consequences can become lessons. Even difficult experiences can lead people to recognize mistakes and choose a different path. While accountability is necessary, the ultimate goal is often restoration rather than destruction. For those who have been wounded by the actions of others, holding on to faith in justice can prevent bitterness from taking root. Bitterness grows when people believe they must personally carry the burden of correcting every wrong. It develops when frustration turns into obsession and disappointment becomes resentment. Trusting that justice exists allows individuals to move forward without being consumed by anger. It does not mean ignoring wrongdoing or pretending pain does not matter. Rather, it means recognizing that the responsibility for final judgment does not rest entirely on human shoulders. Throughout life, people will encounter situations that seem unfair. They will witness moments when dishonesty appears rewarded and integrity appears ignored. Yet appearances are often temporary. What looks like victory today may reveal itself as failure tomorrow. What seems hidden now may become visible later. What appears unresolved may simply be waiting for the right moment. Justice is not measured by speed but by certainty. The enduring lesson is simple yet powerful. No action exists outside the reach of accountability. Every choice matters. Every decision carries weight. Every act of kindness and every act of harm leaves a mark. Human systems may overlook certain things, but true justice sees clearly and completely. In the end, truth remains stronger than deception. Integrity remains more valuable than temporary success. And justice, no matter how delayed it may seem, always finds its way forward. There is a remarkable difference between truth and deception. Deception requires constant effort to survive, while truth requires no effort at all. A lie must be protected, defended, and repeated. It depends on secrecy and careful management. Truth, on the other hand, simply exists. It does not need to be reinvented or adjusted to fit changing circumstances. This is why, throughout history, truth has consistently outlasted deception. No matter how deeply it is buried or how fiercely it is opposed, truth eventually finds a way to be heard. Many people underestimate the power of truth because they focus on what they can see in the present moment. They watch lies spread quickly, reputations damaged unfairly, and false narratives gain support. In those moments, it can seem as though deception is winning. The louder voices often attract more attention. The more dramatic stories often gain more interest. The more convincing lies sometimes appear stronger than the quiet reality they attempt to replace. Yet appearances can be misleading. What seems powerful today may prove fragile tomorrow. Deception often rises quickly, but it rarely stands the test of time. One reason truth is so powerful is because it is rooted in reality. Reality cannot be permanently altered by denial. People may ignore facts, reject evidence, or create alternative explanations, but reality remains unchanged. Imagine trying to hold a ball underwater. For a moment, it may stay beneath the surface. It may seem as though it has disappeared completely. Yet the pressure continues to build. The moment control is lost, the ball rises again. Truth operates in a similar way. It may be suppressed temporarily, but it never stops existing. Eventually, circumstances change, pressure builds, and reality returns to the surface. History provides countless examples of this principle. Secrets that were carefully guarded for years eventually became public knowledge. Corruption that seemed untouchable was eventually exposed. False accusations that damaged innocent people were later disproven. Hidden motives that remained concealed for a long time were eventually revealed. In many cases, those responsible believed they had complete control over the narrative. They assumed that because they controlled information, they controlled the truth. What they failed to understand was that controlling information and controlling reality are two very different things. The journey of truth is often slower than people would prefer. This is one reason many become discouraged. They expect immediate results. They want falsehoods corrected instantly and misunderstandings resolved without delay. When this does not happen, frustration grows. Some begin to wonder whether truth will ever prevail. Others become tempted to fight deception, using dishonest methods of their own. Yet truth does not require manipulation to succeed. Its strength comes from its authenticity. While lies depend on constant support, truth remains steady even when no one is defending it. This lesson becomes especially important when individuals face false judgments or unfair criticism. There are times when people are misunderstood, their intentions are questioned, their character is attacked. Stories circulate that do not accurately reflect reality. These experiences can be deeply painful because they affect relationships, opportunities, and emotional well-being. In such moments, the temptation is to panic and believe that perception has permanently replaced reality. But perception is often temporary. Truth may take longer to emerge, yet it possesses a durability that falsehood lacks. One of the reasons lies eventually collapse is because maintaining them becomes increasingly difficult over time. Every deception creates new complications. Additional lies are often required to support previous ones. Contradictions begin to appear. Inconsistencies become harder to hide. The effort required to maintain a false narrative grows heavier with each passing day. Eventually, cracks begin to show. What once appeared convincing becomes questionable. What once seemed certain becomes doubtful. The weight of deception eventually works against itself. Truth also has an extraordinary way of revealing itself through unexpected channels. Sometimes it emerges through evidence. Sometimes it appears through testimony. Sometimes it becomes visible through patterns of behavior that can no longer be ignored. At other times, it is revealed through circumstances nobody could have predicted. The exact method may vary, but the outcome remains consistent. Reality finds a voice. What was hidden becomes visible. What was denied becomes undeniable. For those who value integrity, this principle offers both comfort and responsibility. The comfort comes from knowing that honesty is never wasted. Even when truthful people are overlooked, ignored, or challenged, their commitment to reality remains valuable. The responsibility comes from recognizing that truth should guide not only what we say but also how we live. Integrity means choosing honesty even when deception appears easier. It means valuing reality more than convenience and character more than temporary advantage. Another important aspect of truth is that it liberates. Lies create fear because they depend on concealment. The person who lives dishonestly often worries about discovery. They must constantly monitor what others know and what might be revealed. Truth removes that burden. There is freedom in honesty because there is nothing to hide. There is peace in integrity because there is no need to maintain a false image. This freedom becomes one of the greatest rewards of living truthfully. The enduring reality is that truth always finds a voice. It may not speak immediately. It may not arrive according to human expectations. It may face resistance and opposition along the way, yet it continues to exist regardless of circumstances. Time may delay its recognition, but it cannot destroy its power. Darkness may attempt to conceal it, but concealment is never permanent. When the moment arrives, truth rises, speaks, and reveals what was there all along. And when it does, even the strongest walls of deception cannot silence it. Many people think exposure is simply about embarrassment, punishment, or public humiliation. They view the uncovering of hidden actions as nothing more than a moment when someone gets caught. While exposure can certainly bring consequences, its purpose often goes much deeper than that. Exposure creates accountability. It forces people to confront reality instead of hiding from it. It removes the protection that secrecy provides and places truth where it can no longer be ignored. In many cases, exposure becomes the turning point that changes lives, relationships, organizations, and even entire communities. Accountability is one of the most important principles in human growth. Without it, people can continue destructive behaviors for years without recognizing the damage they cause. When actions remain hidden, it becomes easier to justify them. Individuals convince themselves that their choices are harmless, necessary, or insignificant. They create explanations that allow them to avoid responsibility. Over time, those justifications can become so deeply rooted that they begin to believe them. This is why secrecy can be dangerous. It allows unhealthy patterns to continue without interruption. It creates an environment where problems grow in the shadows instead of being addressed in the light. Exposure changes that dynamic. It interrupts the cycle of denial and forces a person to face reality. What was once hidden becomes visible. What was once dismissed becomes undeniable. Suddenly, there is no longer room for excuses or avoidance. The truth stands clearly in front of everyone involved. While this process can be uncomfortable, it is often necessary. Growth rarely begins until honesty enters the situation. Real change requires a willingness to acknowledge what is true, even when that truth is painful. Throughout history, countless examples have demonstrated how exposure creates accountability. Leaders who abused their positions of authority were eventually confronted with evidence of their actions. Organizations that operated dishonestly were forced to answer for their decisions. Individuals who believed their secrets would remain hidden discovered that reality could no longer be controlled. In each of these situations, exposure served as a corrective force. It brought hidden issues into public view and created an opportunity for justice, reflection, and change. One reason accountability is so powerful is because it protects others. Hidden wrongdoing often affects more people than anyone realizes. A lie may damage trust. A betrayal may wound relationships. A dishonest decision may harm an entire group of people. When these actions remain concealed, the damage can continue to spread. Exposure stops that process. It shines light on the problem and prevents further harm. Although the moment of revelation may be difficult, it often becomes the first step toward healing and restoration for those who have been affected. For those who have been hurt by someone else's hidden actions, accountability can bring a sense of validation. One of the most painful experiences in life is knowing the truth while others remain unaware of it. Victims of deception often feel isolated because their reality is not recognized by those around them. They may question themselves, wonder if anyone will believe them, or struggle with the feeling that justice will never come. When the truth is finally exposed, it confirms what they have known all along. It demonstrates that reality cannot remain hidden forever, and that their experiences matter. At the same time, accountability is not only for those who have done wrong. It is also a principle that benefits everyone. Every person has weaknesses, blind spots, and areas where improvement is needed. Accountability encourages self-examination. It challenges individuals to evaluate their choices honestly and make corrections when necessary. Rather than seeing accountability as an enemy, wise people recognize it as a valuable guide. It helps prevent small mistakes from becoming major failures and encourages growth before serious consequences occur. Another important aspect of exposure is that it reveals character. Character is not determined by how people behave when everything is easy or when everyone is watching. True character is revealed by how individuals respond when the truth comes to light. Some react with denial, blame, and defensiveness. They continue resisting reality even when evidence is clear. Others choose a different path. They accept responsibility, acknowledge mistakes, and commit themselves to change. The response to exposure often says more about a person than the original mistake itself. This is why exposure should not always be viewed as destruction. In many cases, it becomes an opportunity for transformation. When people are willing to confront the truth honestly, they create the possibility for growth. Relationships can be repaired, trust can be rebuilt, lessons can be learned, new habits can be formed. While accountability may involve consequences, it can also lead to a better future than continued deception ever could. Living with integrity is the best way to embrace accountability before exposure becomes necessary. People who practice honesty, humility, and self-reflection have less to fear from the light. They understand that mistakes should be addressed rather than hidden. They recognize that transparency creates strength, while secrecy often creates weakness. Instead of spending energy protecting false images, they focus on becoming genuine and trustworthy. The reality is simple but powerful. Exposure creates accountability because it removes the barriers that keep truth hidden. It forces reality into view, protects those who have been harmed, and creates opportunities for justice and growth. While the process may be uncomfortable, it serves an important purpose. Darkness allows problems to grow unnoticed, but light reveals them so they can be addressed. In the end, accountability is not merely about consequences. It is about truth, responsibility, and the possibility of transformation. When hidden actions are brought into the light, people are given a choice: continue resisting reality or embrace the opportunity to change. The light reveals the truth, but what happens next depends on the response to that truth. There is a unique freedom that comes from living honestly. It is a freedom that cannot be purchased, manipulated, or borrowed from someone else. It comes from knowing that your public life and your private life are aligned. It comes from having nothing to hide nothing to constantly defend, and nothing to fear being discovered. While many people spend their lives trying to protect secrets, maintain false appearances, or create images that do not reflect reality, those who choose integrity experience a different kind of peace. They understand that living in the light may not always be easy, but it is always liberating. Many people mistakenly believe that honesty creates vulnerability, while deception creates security. At first glance, that assumption can seem reasonable. Telling the truth may require difficult conversations. Admitting mistakes can feel uncomfortable. Being transparent about struggles may seem risky. On the other hand, hiding problems often appears easier in the moment. It provides temporary relief and allows people to avoid immediate consequences. Yet what seems like protection often becomes a prison. Every secret carries a burden. Every lie creates pressure. Every false image requires maintenance. Over time, the weight becomes exhausting. Living dishonestly forces people to divide their energy. Instead of focusing on growth, purpose, and meaningful relationships, they must constantly monitor what others know. They worry about exposure. They fear unexpected questions. They become anxious about details that might reveal the truth. Even when no one suspects anything, the internal pressure remains. The possibility of discovery follows them wherever they go. What was intended to create security ultimately creates fear. The very thing they hoped would protect them becomes a source of stress. By contrast, living in the light removes that burden. It allows people to move forward without carrying the constant weight of concealment. There is confidence in knowing that truth does not need to be protected by endless explanations. There is peace in knowing that integrity can withstand scrutiny. A person who values honesty may still face challenges, criticism, or misunderstandings, but they are not trapped by the fear of being exposed. Their foundation is reality, not illusion. One of the greatest benefits of living in the light is the trust it creates. Trust is one of the most valuable assets any person can possess. Relationships thrive when trust is present and suffer when it is absent. Families, friendships, communities, and organizations all depend on trust to function effectively. Yet trust cannot be built on deception. It requires consistency between words and actions. It requires reliability, honesty, and transparency. People are naturally drawn to those whose character reflects authenticity because authenticity creates safety. Living with integrity also strengthens self-respect. Many individuals spend years trying to gain approval from others while neglecting their own sense of character. They focus on appearances rather than substance. They become more concerned with how they are perceived than with who they actually are. The problem with this approach is that external approval can never replace internal confidence. True confidence comes from knowing that your actions align with your values. It comes from being able to look at yourself honestly, without regret, over hidden choices and secret compromises. Another reason walking in the light brings freedom is that it encourages growth. When people are unwilling to acknowledge weaknesses, they limit their ability to improve. Denial prevents progress because problems cannot be solved until they are recognized. Honesty creates opportunities for learning and transformation. It allows individuals to identify areas where change is needed and take meaningful steps forward. Rather than pretending to be perfect, they embrace the process of becoming better. This mindset leads to maturity, wisdom, and resilience. Living in the light does not mean living a flawless life. Every person makes mistakes. Every person experiences failure at some point. Integrity is not the absence of imperfection. It is the willingness to confront imperfection honestly. People of strong character do not claim they have never been wrong. Instead, they take responsibility when they are wrong. They learn from mistakes rather than hiding them. They understand that accountability is not a threat, but an opportunity for growth. There is also a profound sense of peace that comes from transparency. Much of the anxiety people experience is connected to trying to control perceptions. They worry about maintaining images, meeting expectations, and preventing others from discovering aspects of their lives they would rather keep hidden. This constant effort can be emotionally exhausting. Living honestly simplifies life. It removes the need for complicated stories and carefully crafted disguises. It allows people to focus on what truly matters rather than spending energy protecting what is false. Throughout history, those who lived with integrity often left the most enduring impact. Their influence was not based solely on talent, wealth, or status. It was rooted in character. People trusted them because their actions matched their words. Their credibility came from consistency. Even when they faced opposition, they remained grounded because their lives were built on truth rather than appearance. Their example demonstrates that integrity may require courage, but it produces rewards that deception can never provide. The reality is that everyone eventually faces the light. Truth has a way of revealing itself, and time has a way of exposing what is genuine. Those who spend their lives hiding from the light often discover that darkness offers only temporary shelter. Those who embrace the light, however, experience something far greater. They gain freedom from fear, freedom from pretense, and freedom from the burden of maintaining a false image. They build trust, strengthen character, and create a foundation that can withstand challenges. In the end, walking in the light is not simply about avoiding exposure. It is about choosing a better way to live. It is about embracing honesty over deception, courage over fear, and integrity over convenience. While darkness may promise protection, only the light provides lasting peace. And when a person chooses to live in that light, they discover a freedom that no secret can ever offer and no circumstance can ever take away.